On this episode, we talk to a self-proclaimed social survivalist. His name is Andy, and he could be anyone for 10 minutes. Too bad this podcast is like an hour. He learned these skills spending part of his childhood overseas living on an army base. With a bunch of kids in the same situation, making friends can be challenging, and it didn't leave him without scars. But he's made it his mission to become the best version of himself with some therapy, reflection, and a little hard work. We also talk about if you put that you like to hike on your dating profile, you might want to be into hiking. Let's jump in. Everybody, welcome to a moderately good podcast again. I'm your host, Scotty, still here, right? So before we get started, shout out to Above Average Joe Media. He does all my Instagram stuff, all my media stuff, helps me look really cool. Shout out to my guy, Jason, that's at Wish Pocket on Instagram. So if you're looking for somebody to do sound for your band, or I don't know, some sort of meetings you do, or anytime you need you to sound great, that's why I sound so great is because Jason does that for me. So you can find me at Wish Pocket on Instagram. My guy Jaron, No Names Originals, support local Charlotte, North Carolina artists. Or he's in Morrisville, but whatever. Support local artists. He's putting out like paintings and shirts and bleach, and he does cool paintings. Just really great stuff. So check him out. And then last but not least, my guy Mo. Excuse me. He has the Go Bubble app, and if you use the promo code Go Moderately, you get a discount of sorts. And so go check that out. Oh, and that's Go Bubble app on Instagram. Everybody, I have my goal for this season is to talk to people I don't know, because y'all have met all my friends pretty much. So everybody say hi to Andy. Andy, say hi.
Hey.
Andy, really quickly, because we were going to do like a quick history lesson. So just kind of like what you've done and then like what you do now. So because I know obviously because we talked, but just go through it real quick, and so I might have a couple questions.
Besides me liking like long walks on the beach and stuff like that.
Yeah, like besides your like your dating like what you're looking for in a perfect partner.
Okay. My name's Andrew Kellaway. Originally from Texas. Family's from Texas. Grew up. I was an Army brat, so we grew up in.
But were you born and raised in Texas?
I wasn't. I was born in Texas. I was actually born in Killeen, Texas, and then my dad, he was a Vietnam vet and still in the military when I was born. So for example, we lived in Texas twice. We moved to Germany 3 different times.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is all from 76 to 88. And so
you're probably like 13 years old.
I was
by the time y'all get back, I guess.
3 different times. So it was 3 years one time. I was aged 3 to 6, and then again for 1 year in 1983. I was 10 years old. I was in the 5th grade, and then we had my grandfather on my father's side became terminally ill, and so the military allowed us to move back as a family to El Paso, and my dad was stationed there, and so I finished it all of 6th grade there, and no, that was a different story. I did. We came back in 85.
Okay.
We came back in 85. I was 12 years old, and then we went directly back to Germany from 85 to 88 during the Cold War. So a lot of interesting stuff that we had to do as a kid.
So really quickly, what was that like having to move back and forth, like losing friends, gaining friends, making new friends, and then you're in the middle of like the Cold War? What was that like as a kid for you?
So, it's kind of split 50-50. Whereas kids that just, I'll talk about the kids in Germany, living in West Germany at the time during the Cold War. You live in, military housing, which are old World War II German bunkers, German buildings and stuff like that, and my kind of offices converted over to living area, and so those were pretty nice, but the culture there, and then the camaraderie between the fellow students, because 90% of the students that I went to school with were in the same situation. Right. They're from California, New York, Texas. They could be from all over the place, Samoa.
So like nobody really has any friends.
When you get there, you have no friends. If you're lucky,
but they have no friends too, right? Because like they're all coming from like random places as well, right? Right. So it's like this big group of kids, and nobody has friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like how did you navigate that? Like, so what did you do? How did you were you the kind of guy that you befriended kids? Like, did you?
I was a person that made friends quickly, and also what helped me is I had an older sister. I have an older sister and I have a younger sister, and so and she's only 3 years older than me, so we were really close growing up, and she kind of had my back and everything, and she was real popular, so it was easy for me to make friends pretty easily. So.
She was real popular in the school over
at every school she went to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you're allowed to say this as a brother. Was she pretty?
Yeah, she was pretty.
That helped out. Yeah. Of course. But I mean, but also you're like an American in another country. Mm-hmm. So everybody's exotic, I guess, in that way, right?
You don't really think of it like that. It's you find things to make fun of that are, different. I mean, we're talking about kids here. And so, right. But then you find things the thing that my friends and I did very well at is, what can we get away with in Germany that we could not get away with in the States?
Okay, so what can you get away with Germany that you can't get away with?
You can buy alcohol at a very young age.
What was so not you, but what was the youngest person that you knew that bought alcohol?
Talking about one of my friends.
Yeah, not him. This is not him.
This person bought a case of beer at 13 years old.
No way.
Yes.
So what was that? What was that like? Like,
so just let me paint a picture for you. A German crate isn't just like a cardboard box you pull out of a cooler at 7-Eleven. A German case of beer is a case. It's 20 or 24. I don't think it's 24. I think it's actually 20 bottles, half-liter bottles in a
plastic
glass bottles in a plastic reusable crate.
Right.
And so all the bottles are recyclable too. So they don't in Germany, they don't just like crush them up, remelt them and make bottles. They clean them out
and then make cocktails. I'm just kidding. No, go ahead. They clean them out and they reuse them, they refill them.
Yeah, I think that's not just German. I think it's a European thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we bought a case of beer and got through about 1.5 each. And realized we had a problem on our hands. We had to find a place to hide all this beer.
Because y'all couldn't drink it all that day.
Right. We thought we could.
So where'd y'all hide it?
We hid it in one of our friends' houses.
Did y'all get to finish it?
Huh?
Did y'all get caught or did you get to finish it?
We drank half of it and we sold the other half.
So how much did you sell it for, like, per beer?
Gosh, I can't remember. That was probably...
Is this American currency?
This was American currency.
Sold to other American kids?
So actually, I was 14 at the time.
Okay.
Now that you got me jogging my memory, I'm remembering more details.
You're still way too young. That's all that matters.
And so we sold some of it for cash. I don't remember the amount. But what I do remember is we sold 2 of them for entry into a high school party. So we're juniors. I mean, we're freshmen.
Junior high or freshmen in high school.
We're freshmen.
Okay.
We're trying to get to this party. All the popular people are pretty girls, blah blah blah. And so, I asked my sister if she knew anybody at that party. She says, "Yes, I do."
So she hooked you up.
I was like, "Tell them that we want to get in." And so, she said she's not there. So it's kind of a similar thing. There was the older sister, which was having the party, and then the younger brother, my age, that I was kind of friends with. Mm-hmm. So by happenstance, and this is a very small community. It's not like we drive down the road.
It's the American kids basically in the school, right? I would assume. And then maybe a couple of kids from Germany.
And then all these apartment buildings kind of like really close to each other and stuff like that. And so
it's like a whole community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we thought we would have this excellent bargaining chip. We had some beer, right? Right. I mean, we're wondering if they have even beer, Right. And so I ran to the brother. He refused to tell his sister that. So we went to the entry of the stairwell, and there's like adults coming back and forth, other people's like parents and stuff like that.
And y'all carrying beer?
And no, it's in a bag, but anyway, we find somebody I kind of like moderately know. I was like, hey, can I talk to, I think her name was Tracy. And it's like, can you send Tracy downstairs? And she came down. She actually came downstairs. She's like, we'll give you 2 bottles of beer if we can get into your party. She's like, come on up. And it was that it. Made my first illegal
deal.
Booze deal.
Did they have beer up there?
Not very much, but they had some beer. Mm-hmm.
So what else? What else can you get away with in Germany that you can't get away with in the United States at a very young age?
You can buy nudie magazines.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like this have them at a kiosk back in this is in, 80, 85 through 88. You just see
and probably nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares over there.
Right. So there was this kiosk. Everything they had there was for sale from anybody, up to, well, I guess I don't think they had beer there, but there was cigarettes. We bought those too.
Right.
Girly magazines, that stuff too, so it's just anything that we could get away with in Germany, we did. Right. So, yeah.
Anyways, so you were in the military.
I was also in the military. Yes.
Right. Sorry. Well, yes. Your dad was in the military, and then you were in the military. Was there any influence, like, was your dad going into the military any influence for you to go in the military?
A little bit, particularly his job. My dad was my dad was a helicopter pilot in the Army, and then so I knew what they did. I knew the path to get there. So I didn't do it right away. In fact, I didn't go to flight school until I was 28 years old.
Oh wow! And
so, which is kind of like the highest age.
Yeah, most people do it like times. Really young,
right?
Right. Because you're not scared of anything at that point, right?
I guess not. Yeah. And then so yeah, I knew that could be a successful career. So, in light of not like tons of, parents were back in the days. They're just like hey, go to school, get good grades, clean your room, you're going to be successful. There's none of that real like our parents didn't know because they were trained by baby boomers, right. And so they didn't teach, money principles and compounded interest and what it takes to get into like a great school and to get an even better job, So yeah, that's what I knew was just from what my parents told me. My parents, obviously, they're not stupid people, but they're, that was their
what they
training.
chose.
That's what
right?
they chose.
Yeah, and you saw it as a viable path.
Yeah. And it was pretty good to me. I ended up doing 20 years.
Wow.
Doing that. Yeah.
Helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Okay. In the Army. Whole time.
14 of the 20 years.
Okay,
yeah.
And then the other 6, what'd you do?
I was in the field artillery.
Okay, what does that mean?
Loud noise and lots of work.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what do you do as a field artillery man?
My particular job was when you have like field artillery pieces move into, for say
like tanks.
Some of them are just like tracks. They'll look like a tank, or some of them are towed. Okay, and some of them are the rocket launcher ones.
Okay, like the big ones.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so if they're told to go to a particular spot and then set up, and they're shooting something that's 30 kilometers away, and then how accurate can they be if there's like, all right, shoot in that direction? No, it's there's a lot of math. There's a lot of stuff you can geek out about with geometry, and then equations. We had like this little computer that be backed up on with like actual like coordinates and adding and subtracting and everything. And so it was our job to make sure those guns were pointed in the right direction
at the exact target,
and then basically tell them where they are, because they know kind of where they're on a map, but they know exactly within a half a millimeter where they are.
Right.
So it's that precise.
Did you do that at the beginning or at the end?
The beginning. Yeah.
What made you flip? What made you want to become a helicopter pilot?
That was a grunt job. So there's very few people that do that, I think, for 20 years. So,
right.
Yeah.
You're just like, I got to get out of here.
And pilot job is a promotion. You go from enlisted to officer.
Okay.
And, all that stuff.
So it's just kind of the process that some people take or have to take. Or
most people went to flight school were also prior enlisted.
Yeah. So, so what do you do now?
Now I work in IT. I do IT support for a rocket company here in the Austin area.
Okay, when you say a rocket company, you mean like what kind of rocket? like a rocket people fly in? Like a rocket?
No, like rockets that go into outer space and deploy satellites.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's neat.
How'd you get that gig?
Okay, so prior to that, I worked at Facebook as a contractor doing the same thing.
Launching
IT
rockets
support.
out of Facebook?
Launching rockets out of Facebook. Yeah. Hey, I mean,
you IT support. IT support. Yeah.
You can do whatever you want in the metaverse. So,
yeah.
We're talking about rockets. Oh yeah. So I was there on a contract, and so I knew when my job was going to end, and then I took 6 months off, and then just took some time looking for a job. I was really interested in getting a sales position, particularly a technical or IT or software as a service type sales position. And I was also interested in the procurement process because I really enjoy like the the negotiating and just like talking, convincing somebody to do things and like for example my glasses or this watch or this drink right here, just to convince somebody that
Liquid Death, by the way, fancy Liquid Death.
Yeah. So that really intrigued me. And I know that
like a negotiator kind of sorts.
Yeah. I mean, not like a hostage negotiator.
No. But like, I mean, on some level, sales is a little bit of a negotiation.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a negotiation, but so like, anyways, but then, the, getting someone to believe in what you're doing. Right.
And then for more clarity, I guess, it's, for I read a bunch of sales books and everything. It's something that I really was intrigued in. And then I realized why. It's because you're kind of selling yourself,
right?
Getting someone to like you, and then letting that person know how knowledgeable you are of a product and how that product can make their life better. And so that was an internal thing with me, is getting better at speaking to people, especially if it's something I don't know a whole lot about, or something, or if I have a conversation with you about something that I know a lot about and something I don't know a lot about, I want those to sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
just a quick observation. This skill that you seem to have, you probably picked that up because of all the traveling and then going back and forth to Germany and everywhere y'all lived, and always having to make new friends and always having to like get out there, you know what I mean? Like a new place. And so, you got to like, I don't want to say make people like you, but like, everybody wants to be liked and have friends and stuff like that. And so that became a skill because you said something very interesting. I asked you what you thought the most interesting thing about yourself was, and you said you can be anybody for 10 minutes.
That's right.
So what does that mean?
Okay, so you ever go to just
I think I know what it means, but I want to hear you say it. So
okay, so for example, you a best example I can think of is like, dating someone new, and then they take you to a house party or something like that. Could be anything. Could be that it's like, could be 12 people having coffee.
It could be their Christmas party, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so walking in there, and then you start meeting people, and you realize you have nothing in common with these people. You can tell that, just like you can tell the political climate, you can tell, where people are from. You can tell just like maybe they're giving you some bad looks and stuff like that.
It's just not your bag.
Yeah. It's just people I would never be friends with. They're not bad people. It's just and one or two is fine, but you get 12 together, then it becomes like a committee of people. You're thinking in your head, it's like it's become a committee of people that don't like you.
Well, your time is so valuable. You don't want to spend it with people that you're not really have common. You want to spend it with people that you do have interest in. Is that right?
Well, I probably want to impress the date that I'm with.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is also a small part of it, of course. Like, anyway, go ahead.
So I'll just talk to one person, and then I'll find one thing that they're interested in, or maybe it's something on their clothes, or maybe a watch I recognize, or maybe some shoes or something like that. Even if I can't find anything, I'll make something up, and just get that person to, kind of open up, because to me that's survival in a, I mean, not survival, but social survival.
Social survival, yeah, that's a good term. I would say too, like I don't know. Do you agree? Like, people can be pretty standoffish. Like, they're pretty, I mean, we've become very kind of defensive almost, right? Like I remember taking this plane trip, and the girl in front of me, like catty corner, like there was a bag under her seat, and I thought she had dropped it. And I was just like, I go, "Excuse me, ma'am, I think you dropped a bag." She goes, "That's not mine." And I was like, "Okay, sorry." Like, I was just trying to like, you know what I mean? And we've become, so, you know, you're basically going like, "Hey, I want to break down their defenses as fast as possible," right? You know what I mean? So, because you can't really even have a conversation. You can't even really try to enjoy yourself if someone has their defenses up.
I do it more for myself at first, just because I'm not
comfortable.
I'm not comfortable. I need to find comfortable right now. You know, just the 2 beers I slammed in the corner, isn't cutting it.
Isn't working.
I need to find an ally somewhere here in this party. And so hopefully I find that. I usually do. Anyway, so being anybody for 10 minutes is just, I think, a great skill, because even if you're not interested in what they're saying, just ask some leading questions and pretend like you're enjoying it, and then you can just be that person's best friend for 10 minutes.
And you never know what you'll fall across. Like, like a lot of times when I'm kind of like that, where like, and it's kind of a defense mechanism for me, in the sense of like, I don't really like talking about myself all that much, right? And so I will kind of like ask them questions just because I'm interested. Yeah. And then I'll fall across something that we have in common, or like I'll be wearing a pair of sneakers and they'll comment, and then all of a sudden now we're having a real conversation. But like, you got to take the time. Yeah. That almost that 10 minutes is like an investment. Like you're investing, you're going, okay, I'm going to invest 10 minutes in this person, and see if we can have some sort of commonality and a good conversation. If not, I'm going to move on to something else, and I'm invest 10 minutes into them. I think that's probably even a great skill, just managing. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you have like any anxiety about parties? Like, do you get anxious about going to parties where you don't know anybody? I wouldn't think you would, based on your childhood, because it feels like you have to do that probably all the time. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's so funny. The older you get, like when you first start going to parties, like that friend I knew who was 14 years old that went to a party where they were serving beer and stuff like that, back in Germany, where they, bought their way in with beer. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah. There's anxiety about that, but that's anxiety about rejection. Now you're getting, closer to 50 and older. It's like, if I'm at a party or an event or something like that, I have anxiety about, hey, I just want to go home, It's like, when's the best time to make a good exit out of this party so I don't look rude or offending somebody?
Hey, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah. And I've gotten real comfortable. Is it called a French goodbye? Is that what? Is
it? I don't know.
I think it's called a French goodbye, like where you just kind of leave, you don't tell anybody.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
mean? I'm good at those.
Yeah, I'm great at those. You know what I mean? And my friends, but the cool part about it is like the people I hang out with and my guys, they know. Like, and they don't bust. You can bust my balls about it, but I'm not going to change my behavior. Right. I'm just going to still do it. Right. Yeah. So it's funny. So how? I'm sure you don't care. How old are you?
I'm 49.
Okay, and you got married the first time at what age?
I was 21 years old.
Okay. And then how long were you married?
I was married to her for 4 years.
Okay. And you had a daughter in that marriage, right? And then when is the next time you got married?
Was 4 years later.
Okay. So, wait, 4. So you're 28?
27.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how long did you stay married that time?
I was almost 7 years.
Okay. And you had a daughter with that young lady. And you got 2 great daughters, right?
2 great daughters.
Okay. And really quickly, just like, do you want to give them a quick shout out?
Hey, Nikki, Marissa.
And your dad's very proud of you because he's been talking about you all before we started. He was bragging about you. So, and one of them in the Air Force, right?
One of them's in the Air Force, yeah.
Now, did you have any influence? Was that any influence of you think?
I didn't want her to go into the military.
You told her no, like not told her no, but you were like, I don't want you to do this. So did she come to you and talk to you ahead of time?
Yeah. So this is what happened. Both my girls did really good in school. I got lucky. I didn't have neither one of them got into trouble and they all had excellent grades.
They weren't like those kids from Germany.
Not like the kids from Germany. Yes, most definitely not. not bringing home a 2.0 report card. Yeah. She had a partial scholarship to North Texas. She was intrigued in linguistics, and so she got a partial scholarship to North Texas in the linguistics program. And she called me at work. I'll never forget it. It was when I was at Facebook. And she's like, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I'm not going to college." And of course, my heart sank. And then she's like, "I'm going to join the Air Force." I'm like, what is wrong with this kid?
So wait, hang on, really quickly. Up to the point where she called you and she said, like, "Hey, I'm not going to college." Did you have any indication that she wasn't going to go to school?
No.
Did you, so it's total shock.
Total shock, yes.
And then she's like, "Hey, I'm joining the Air Force." And I'm assuming that was a total shock as well? Or not total shock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So
it was like two in a row?
Complete shock, yeah.
Yeah. And so you're like, hey, you're like basically like WTF, right?
Big time.
Yeah. And so then what was the conversation?
Okay, first she told me, she wanted, I told her why. And she's like, "Well, I'm interested in linguistics. I want to start working in it right away. And so I want to be a linguist in the Air Force."
So like when you go to the Air Force, they train you right away, I guess. And then that's your college. Is that your college?
That type of job.
Oh, like, so you get accepted, they give you a job and they train you immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have to, there's several like batteries of tests that you have to take just to have to measure the intelligence level of somebody who wants to do linguistics, and for example, somebody who wants to do mechanical stuff, And so anyway, she tested very high, and then she took the test, which was an 11% pass rate to even be a linguist or interpreter in the military, and she passed that. And then anyway, prior to that, my words on the phone, I'll never forget it, were, I was like, "Okay, you can do it, but you better promise me you'll do two things. You're going to finish your degree," because she had an associate's degree when she was 17, by the time she was 17. "You're going to finish your bachelor's degree by the time you finish your first commitment, and you're going to pick something effing hard. Don't go waste 6 years in the military doing, some job that you're not interested in, some job that's not going to,
develop a skill. Get a
Yeah.
skill. Get a really defined, sharp skill.
A hard skill that other people can't do, because you're smart and everyone's proud of you. If I'd gotten your grades and done what you've done, I wouldn't have done what I did. And I would have made, better decisions in life. Everybody looks back and thinks about him, the better decisions they could have made. And so I don't want her to fall in that gap. And so she did. She did everything she's told me that she was going to do.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm assuming, so she developed a really unique skill.
She is an airborne Arabic linguist.
What the fuck's that mean?
So she rides around in these flies around in these electronic warfare aircraft over Arabic states, and drops in and listens to cell phone conversations, any type of chatter that you hear on the ground.
Wow. So, but she has to be able to speak the language.
Yes.
Obviously to
She's
interpret.
fluent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 18 months of training of language training.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like, we got to at least give a little shout out. What's your other daughter do?
Nikki, she works for she's a program manager for a nonprofit.
Oh, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want? Can you say the nonprofit?
Yeah, she works for Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. And you're also really involved in with dogs and veterans, right? Like you do volunteer stuff with that.
When I can, yes. I'm looking for. Actually, there's a shelter that I think it's called. Anyway, it's one up in Williamson County. It's very close to my house. I need to start getting more involved with the shelter. Yeah,
but so people don't know, I have this form that, people know I have a form that I fill out, but they didn't know this, that I asked, is there anybody you want to bring with you? And you said your dog. And I thought that was I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah. I don't know what's your dog's name? Shout out to your dog. What's your dog's name?
His name is Fitz.
So Fitz, we was going to bring Fitz, but I don't know how that would, I never had my dog would wander in here every once in a while. He's passed away since, but he would wander in, but he would just lay on the floor. He just wouldn't do anything. Before we got started, we were talking about because basically I was single roughly in my mid 40s, and you were talking about being, now you're how old now?
I'm 49.
And by the way, you don't look 49. I don't think you look 49.
Thank you, Scotty. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you're welcome.
that. Yeah.
Do I look 46?
46?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you got more gray going on.
Yeah, but like I just didn't even
brings
try.
Got more, character to your face, though.
I feel like I'm kind of like starting to look like Negan from The Walking Dead. Like he very like Jeffrey Morgan, whatever his name is. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, but before we got started, we were talking about just kind of like dating in your 40s, right? So like,
yeah.
And so just really quickly, and you said like at 48, like something like you expired or something like that, like all of a sudden everything was very different. Just like,
so I think everyone goes through this when they're getting older. It's when you pretty much have to surrender your I'm young card. You're like, okay, I no longer have that. And then you get the old man card.
So do you feel like you did that at 48?
I feel I did that at 48 because lots of things started happening.
Give me examples.
So, for example, I'd been blessed with not having any allergies, not one whatsoever. I got here, everyone's just like, cedar fever and oak and grass and mold. And I just breathe, just clear as a bell. And then so 48, boom, allergies, big time allergies. Then boom, here's some cedar fever just to get you acquainted with some allergies.
So you're talking about like getting some old, like feeling old shit.
Feeling old, started needing glasses, got asthma. This is all, and not just when I turned 48, like within like a 3-4 month window there.
Hang on real quick. So you didn't need glasses until you were 48?
Right.
Do you think you needed glasses before you were 48? Or you really,
No.
you knew? Because like, I feel like right at 40.
I was a pilot for 14 years. They test your vision, near and far.
Right at 40, I needed glasses. Automatic. I mean,
really?
It was like I woke up one morning, I was like, I can't see shit.
Yeah.
Like these are prescription. Like all the glasses I wear are prescription. Shout out to Zenny. Thank you. They can be like cool. Anyways, but yeah. But so what else? Like, so at 48, what else?
Oh gosh, what? Like just trying to stay in the, it's like just trying to stay in the gym, like physically trying to stay in the gym and keep doing those things and keep getting those, numbers that you want and everything. Me being a trainer, I kind of probably gave up, but reserved myself to the fact of like, I need to do some different shit like a while back, but I've also been injured. I have like a lot of like injuries. Like I fell a lot as a kid and stuff like that. And so, but I do know that feeling of like it's not that you're not gaining anymore. You're just trying to maintain the gains that you accomplished as a younger person, right? That could have been said better.
Yeah.
So, to kind of overcompensate with me getting old and moving slower, and then those ailments I was telling you about before, I was like, okay, well, screw it. Fuck you, life. I'm going to get stronger then. How about that?
Right.
So at 48 and 49 now, like personal records, like on the bench all time,
What'd you do differently?
The longer you work out, the more things you pick up, the more you learn about your own body.
Right.
I'll take like there's some YouTube channels that I'll watch and just how to, isolate muscle groups. And then, so it turns out that as I'm looking through or reading Men's Health and looking on YouTube and stuff for different workout, different things to lift, then you find out that, hey, that thing actually enhanced my life. It's like, it's not about getting bigger muscles. It's about, hey, I can stand up taller now.
Yeah.
I can, I'm doing more deadlifts, makes me stand up straighter.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you find you kind of stumble across these things that you never knew would be a benefit to you.
Well, I correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is, when I was younger, I mean, I could do pretty much whatever I wanted and it didn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, I could lift however I wanted, it didn't matter. But as you get older, like, like your shit just starts to wear out, right?
Yeah.
So you start going, okay, what is going to make me feel better on the day-to-day in order for me to want to work out every day? And so you go, oh, like my posture's bad, like the deadlifts are going to be really effective for me. Or I need to do twice as much back as I do chest because my shoulders roll forward, or, just how you stretch and how you move and things like that. And I think it should be a very natural evolution of like being a young, self-absorbed male, teenager, young adult, that you go, okay, if I just want, like, it's hard to look good if I can't get out of bed. Like if my back hurts so bad I can't leave my bed.
Right.
Like I mean, how I could look good, that's great, but nobody's gonna see me because I'm in bed, right?
Yeah.
And so you just start adjusting that kind of stuff. Like I've done the same thing. Yeah.
And so the largest benefits to me are not even physical. It's all a morning workout, which I got to get my ass out of bed to do it, so it doesn't happen very often.
Do you fast at all through your morning workout or no?
I do not.
Okay.
No.
No. I mean,
I'll go to work. I mean, I'll go to the gym on an empty stomach. Well, sometimes, I mean, I used to. Now I just take like a half a glass of milk just to get something, something in my gut.
just so you don't feel like nauseous, probably, or like
drink
blood sugar and stuff like that.
Half an Atkins shake or something like that. But then that just adds to the energy that I have all day long.
Oh, yeah.
I get so much more done. It's like,
morning. By the way, morning workouts are probably the best.
Yeah.
I mean, like I know that some people aren't morning people, but if you can,
I'm not.
Okay, so great. You're not a morning person, right? But you understand the benefits of a morning workout. Yeah. Because it just gets you going. The whole day you're just like fired up. I mean, you're just ready to go. Like I think, right?
And then the benefits don't stop. And then you have energy all day long, and then you sleep better that night. Yeah. And so,
by the way, the closer to bedtime that you work out, the harder it is going to be to go to sleep. I feel like that's a pretty basic thing. But when you work out in the morning, you're very far away from that revved up heart rate that you put on your body. If you work out at 8 p.m., it's going to take your body a while to kind of like slow down and stuff.
Yeah, I made that mistake a couple weeks ago, and I had done a night workout in months, and I did it. Well,
I mean, you threw your shit all the way off, right? Yeah. Because you just went like way out of the box, which is probably, in the grand scheme of things, not horrible, because you shocked your body in the way, but also like, your sleep patterns are important. Sleep is important. Rest is important, that kind of stuff. Right.
So the probably, and that's probably, so if we're tied for first place is the feeling, the energy, a jolt that it gives me throughout the day. But for me, I have anxiety. And so a lot of people, when they get treated for I'm not trying to make this sharp right turn on the topics here, but it does have to do with working out, is my therapist is just introduced me to meditation and things like that, just to calm me down, because sometimes I think I have a, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you wake up with anxiety. The first thing you feel when you wake up is anxiety, and that's one of the worst feelings in the world. Right. So instead of running to the medicine cabinet to grab a Klonopin or something like that, I was banging out like 50 push-ups right there. So if I'm always in the gym, lifting something heavy, challenging, putting a physical strain somewhere on my body, the anxiety goes away.
I think exercise is excellent for multiple reasons. The thing we give it credit for is its physical benefit, obviously. But let's not underestimate the mental benefit of exercise. Yeah. This just my opinion. If your kid is ADD, whatever, and he needs medication, that's fine. But also just try running the shit out of him.
Try it, yeah.
Just get him to exercise, get him something he's into, a hobby or something outdoors, somewhere he could channel that energy. Would that be fair, right?
It would be, especially something that. Walking's great, but I wouldn't recommend that for children who have ADD or any type of anxiety. If you're otherwise have a healthy in all respects, and you can run or you can do something like riding a bike, something that's going to wear their ass out. If you get worn out, you're too tired to have anxiety. It's been very few times where I've had anxiety, like the onset of anxiety attack, when I'm really, really tired. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, and I don't want to downplay people have anxiety, and I've had anxiety and stuff like that. But also, are you doing everything that you can do to help that anxiety outside of medication? You said, meditation, right? Exercise. Are you the way you eat, like what you eat, right?
Yeah.
How hydrated you are even matters to some level. What your sleep is, like what you're actually sleeping, what time you work out. Like, are you doing all these other things too? That's all I'm saying, right? Because I think that's fair. Like, you know, and after all that, like if you're kind of like, hey, I still need a medication. Well, I mean, then maybe that's for you, but don't dismiss how great these other things could be.
I tell them had to change therapists. It wasn't my fault. They moved on to different things.
And that happens, by the way. Yeah.
And so, and I told all three of them, I was like, if I had to pick between if I could only have one, meditation, working out, like weights, or a lifetime of Xanax, I would pick the weights every single time because it's more effective than any of them. Than the other two combined, you know?
I think at a minimum, the more you can learn to manage your life in general without medication, the more effective the medication is going to be, the less you might need. And you might find that you can manage this whole thing by yourself, right? You know what I mean? I think that, but it's just really not easy.
It just gives less. It's less personal baggage. It's so if I don't have, like, for example, I smoked cigarettes for 20 years.
Yeah.
I finally gave that up. It's been almost 2 years. 2 years now. But so it's less.
Really quickly, cold turkey.
Cold turkey. But I mean, I smoked for 20 years. I've quit probably 7 different times.
Okay. So it wasn't like that. Like, I mean, would you say you were addicted?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I smoked times a pack a day. Yeah.
Okay. So so what inside you made you go cold turkey? Just really quick.
Because, and this is a little bit to that, is the personal baggage that I have with me. So if you smoke cigarettes, if you're, have anxiety. I'll just talk about my own stuff. If you smoke cigarettes, if you have anxiety, you have a little bit of depression, you have some, just weird thing, quirks about you, just like, want to leave a party early and stuff like that. So if I wanted to go to, lucky enough to go to like Fiji for a month, I only want to bring clothes, flip-flops, and some sunscreen. I don't want to bring all these pills for this. I don't want to bring a carton of cigarettes. I don't want, so you just lighten your load. You want to
simplify your life.
Simplify your life. Yeah. And so to me, that's really important, especially as you get older. You don't want to become more dependent on things. You want to become less dependent on things. And so that makes me feel good.
Do you feel like that as you got older? Tell me if this makes sense. As you gotten older, you've been more open to taking responsibility for the things that you are responsible for. Does that make sense? Like, as an example, so like, I
was kind of tired of being responsible for things because there was some.
No, just being responsible for your stuff, like nobody else's stuff, like just your stuff, like in the sense of like, or just like acknowledging like, hey, I have these faults. Where, but like when you're younger, you kind of don't want to go like, you don't want to say like, oh, I kind of suck at blank, right? You don't want to. Your pride, your ego, kind of makes you hold back. But as you get older, you realize like this is just stupid. Like I'm not good at bingo. So what? Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like, or is that not how you felt?
That's not really how I felt.
Go ahead.
It's kind of hard to explain. We're talking about just be responsible for your own actions, like type of stuff.
Yeah.
And how you feel about it. So, the benefit, obviously one of the few benefits about aging is hopefully you have, the mental maturity, yourself, your brain better, and so, you kind of know what to say and what not to say. And sometimes it's better not to say anything at all.
So really quick, when did you get your first therapist?
Let's see. I was still in the military.
Was it a military therapist?
Yes, it was. 2010.
Was that a good experience?
It was my first time. It was kind of. It started out bad. I did not want to be there. I just wanted. It's very. I worked with a lot of. Myself. You're kind of like a. When you're in charge of a $12 million helicopter, you just kind of get you kind of develop a certain ego about you. And so I just didn't want to, think that I was failing. I thought I was failing down to a therapist. And it wasn't for years later till I realized that I'm just making myself better every visit that I go to. So
I think that's a very natural progression.
Yeah.
I think that happened. I think that like a lot of people start off there and then they never really get to the next step, which is the next step of it. Like you kind of go, okay, well, like I'm not a bad or horrible person. Like I just need some help with this kind of these things. And I talk to somebody and have somebody I can talk to. And I guess what I was kind of getting at before was like, along with age and probably having a therapist, your whole perspective of who you are has probably changed a lot, right? From that guy that was flying the helicopter, I would assume. Right?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of,
and so just speak to that real quick.
So just kind of, it's funny you say this because I've never actually thought about it. I've never thought about my progression from 12 years ago till now. I know that I'm less. I know that I'm more calm. I'm more accepting of things. I listen more than I talk now, and so I think those things what I am now definitely far from perfect, but definitely improved. It just kind of like. Kind of greases the way into you being a more responsible
adult
person and comfortable in your own skin, So
really quickly, and we don't have to go real deep into this, but like, were you in therapy the whole time you were married, divorced?
No.
Were you in therapy any of the time you were married, divorced?
Nope.
Do you find it now hard as someone that's really worked on themselves and tried to like work on communication, the right things to say and the right things to do, that you're almost like speaking another language to some people when you go out on dates and like things like that, like where you're trying to be like in this best version of yourself, and the things that maybe you worked on and talked about in therapy that the people you kind of meet go against it. They don't speak the language. Does that sound familiar?
I hate my own voice. And so when I'm on like a first date, for example, and I hear myself talking, I'm like, this girl thinks I'm an idiot. Oh my gosh.
So that's like, that's your first thought?
Yeah, it's my first thought.
Okay, well, hey, you can't do that anymore. Because I'm graduating you to cool. You're very cool.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
Okay, so we had started this topic like way long ago, but like let's just quickly come back around to it. So we had talked on a break, just like how difficult dating is, being now close to 50. So what are the difficult things? What are you finding difficult about it? Because I have a feeling
it's not really okay. So difficult really isn't. I guess that wouldn't be the right word. Maybe like
challenging.
Challenging, yes. The older you get, the smaller the pool gets. So,
is that because people are married? You think?
I don't know.
Or is that okay?
So, for example, I'm not actively dating now. I'm single. I'm not looking for anybody right now. I'm just like,
why?
Doing my own thing. Well, just for it's kind of promotion at work, and so I'm just kind of like
focused. You're just taking time for you.
But I also don't want to.
You're still getting our groove back.
I don't want to.
But I'm like, hey, remind me to cut me that out later. Anyway, it's good.
That's fine. I don't care. Like I said, the dating pool gets it's a lot smaller.
Okay, a really quick question: do you use dating apps?
I'm getting into that. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Go. Sorry.
And so, and then
they suck for older people. By the way.
And then the older you are, the less you're willing to deal with. Mm-hmm. The less like things like, oh, that person smokes. Oh, that person is this religion. Oh, that person is a Democrat. Oh, that person is this. And then so there's all these red flags when you're for like dating, when you're 20, if you're 24 and you're dating, just like, oh, she's hot, I'm a dater. You don't give a shit what her background is and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah. But when you're 49 and you're dating, that's a whole different thing. And so the dating apps, I am not on any dating app right now because I'll like turn one on for like a month and then immediately shut it down because this is why I stopped online dating, because it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it.
I've said this before on the podcast. Like, I was on a dating apps for a very short time in between kind of dating my ex-wife being married to my ex-wife and then dating my current girlfriend, like a hot minute. And it was just even in that little hot minute, it was such an incredibly horrible experience. I was like, I don't know how, and like, I'm older than a lot of my friends. And so a lot of the single guys I'm friends with are on dating apps and they have a lot of success, but I think it's because whatever that language is, whatever the dating app language is, they speak it. And I just don't speak it, like, because I just grew up in a different time where we talk to people. You know what I mean? And it's got to be like, that's why I was kind of, when you said kind of like, hey, I have a story about dating apps, I was like, so do you have a really like a good dating app story?
They're all kind of the same. Just sometimes you see like, your first date, it's like, you never know what you're going to get. It's like,
because people never put put themselves.
For me, it's like the first thing I'm thinking is a negative thought. It's just like, I wonder how much she lied about her pictures, And so that's the thing with dating.
We have got to change your attitude about these days. You got to go a little more positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So women. So the thing is men lie about their height on dating apps, and women lie about their body disposition, their body composition. I mean,
well, on the dating apps. They're trying to like put out their best self, like their very, very best, even if it's not them, right? Even if it's not really them, like they're not really that tall or they're not really that whatever, right? Like they're putting out their super best selves, and then you meet them, and they're not quite that. How old are your pictures on your? Well, you're not on dating apps right now, but do you use pretty recent pictures? You try to be pretty legit about it.
Those are my best pictures within the past year.
Yeah. Hey, okay, so let's do a quick like kind of how old can your pictures be on a dating app? Year?
I'd say definitely
within the year, right?
Within 2 years is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, 2 years is I don't.
But I'll have one picture on there that's at least like within like the past month for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's very fair.
I think it's fair too, because I don't ever want to have to like, defend myself. It's like, well, your picture's blah, 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 this, the other. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to, say that I was completely honest with everything you read and everything that I said to you.
So what is your, I'm always curious about this. What is your dating range on dating apps usually? So you are now 49. Okay. What would be your lowest and then what's your highest?
I'm really interested in dating somebody that has shared life experiences that I've shared life experiences with, so it has to be somebody that's, plus or minus 5 years.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I did the younger, way younger than me, 12, 13 years younger than me. Out? It just,
But okay, look, like I don't want to sound like old man, get off my lawn. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's a reason why older people and younger people don't date well. And like sometimes it kind of works. My ex-wife was a lot younger than me, but like, I mean, we got along pretty well we had very similar ideas, but like, dating someone close to your age is probably more effective because they have, like you said, similar life experiences. Maybe want to experience like similar things. What's the oldest person you've ever? What's the gap from your age and then older than you
that I've dated?
Yeah,
I dated 4 years older than me. Well, just like went on a couple of dates with,
Yeah, and then what was the youngest?
Was 17 years younger.
And was that just horrible?
That wasn't from online dating. That was just
you just met out.
That, yeah.
But was that how was that experience?
That was it wasn't bad. You just kind of knew. You kind of know right away if there's a future or not.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, back
we're
to your
still
point.
friends. The younger gal, we're still friends to this day. Yeah.
You're not friends with the older gal?
No. Yeah.
I want to ask what happened, but like
are just so judgmental. They just can't.
What?
They just can't.
What do you mean? No. Go through this real quick. So what do you mean judgmental?
Just like you got to be. So I respect her. I respect her that she knows exactly what she wanted. Okay.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. How old were you?
This was probably 3 months ago.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So you're 49?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
49, yeah.
And so she was 54?
53.
53.
Yeah.
So I'm horrible at math. You did fancy math, not me. So she was 53. Okay, so now go. Like, so you said she was very judgmental?
She was actually very sweet. Okay, just the things that
No, I mean, people can be nice and want to know what they want, right?
the things that I would. What's the main thing? I can't even put my finger on it right now. It's she was so that's gonna take it down a different road there. She was
Y'all weren't
just a little bit too judgmental about me. Okay,
will you give me an example?
like so sometimes women my age, they're looking for they're looking for like ready to be in a relationship now, which is kind of what I'm looking for too. I don't want to serial date until I'm 75,
right? But as you get older, it gets kind of harder,
right?
Anyways, go ahead.
So we're both looking for somebody that we can, be comfortable with. And then I thought that was there. And then she just kind of started actually acting a little judgy about, the things that I do and, this. And so it wasn't anything. I can't even think about the one particular thing, but she just said it wasn't going to work. So
do you think that sometimes I always like talk about how like as we get older,
I know what it was. It was the things we're talking about earlier. It was the anxiety, and the things that I like to do. Like for example, I wasn't ready. Our social agendas just didn't pair up.
Like she liked to do things different socially.
Like for example, on her profile, she's like, okay, this, going to the gym, exercising, listening to, classical music, just like really lots of chill stuff, which kind of attracted me to her. And then she likes to travel, like do like 1 or 2 good trips a year, which is exactly me. Like I don't do a whole lot of like weekend, like, rush around and do this around town. My weekends usually pretty chill. And then I like to do like 2 like 1 week vacations, like abroad somewhere, or just, somewhere, and then, she was just kind of like too busy bee during the week, and so I was kind of like laid back, just like, managing my, anxiety and my work week and, just trying to live like that. So we're just a little incompatible like that. Nothing bad against her at all.
You can't. Okay, you met her on a dating app, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't done a lot of dating apps, so take this into consideration. Mm-hmm. But if you're putting a resume online, mm-hmm. is what you're doing, right? It's like your LinkedIn for a job, kind of. Mm-hmm. And if you put on there that you can type and you can't type, mm-hmm. or if you put on there that you read a certain amount of words a minute and you can't, or whatever you lie about, mm-hmm. It's possible that person believes that lie. Mm-hmm. And then, when you can't or don't want to do those kinds of things, it's going to cause problems. Yeah. So you have like you said, like you have like a level of obligation to maybe post a recent picture on your, the idea is that you're going to meet somebody in person. Mm-hmm. So eventually you're going to have to fess up to whatever eventually it's going to come to fruition, right? You know what I mean? Like
maybe you just fall in love with that person before that thing ever surfaces.
Maybe, but like, how like mature of a person it takes to kind of have that kind of mindset, right? To mm-hmm. go like they aren't interested in the things I'm interested in, but I'm so interested in them that I want to stay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like you hate the outdoors. Well, I love the outdoors. Well, I guess we can compromise. You know what I mean?
Hiking's usually the activity that someone's lying about.
So everybody says they want to hike, but nobody really wants to hike.
Well, so think about it. It's something that you can put on your resume that requires no skill, but yet denotes that this person's active,
Hey, so this is my new advice for you on dating apps. Okay. You're going to put hiking on your profile.
I better see a picture of someone hiking. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, so when you match up with somebody that likes hiking, the first thing you do is take them hiking and see if they actually like hiking. You just weed them out like real fast.
Real fast. Yeah.
Like, no hiking.
Yeah.
Oh man. God bless you. Like, God bless you out there in the world, navigating dating and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah. We'll just, I'll probably start dating again, maybe, I don't know, in a couple of months or something like that. Who knows? But
well, okay. So just really quickly, like during that time when you kind of take a hiatus, is that kind of like you like taking care of yourself? Like, is that you kind of going like, yo, I need a break, reset myself, get a better mindset?
Nothing like that.
No,
it's just I just don't want to jump on a dating and go through that all over again.
Well, there's a certain level of like a bullshit that you're going to have to put up with, I guess, right? And so you're just kind of like, I just don't feel like putting up bullshit right now.
Yeah. That's some of it there.
So how I usually like to wrap this thing up is, and I mean, we actually kind of talked about it a lot, but just like, how do you make yourself the best version of yourself for everyone that's like important to you? And so I'm assuming because you talked about kind of like your anxiety, working out, it's like a big thing, right? And then you said like you started doing like meditation via your therapist, right?
And self-help books.
You have any book recommendations?
I do.
Like?
Yeah.
Shoot, go.
Probably one of the best books I've ever read is called Culture Code.
Okay.
It talks about this book talks about what makes teams and people great. For example, it talks about, has 7 examples, 7 organizations. One of them is Google. One of them is Zappos.com, the online shoe retailer. One of them is San Antonio Spurs. One of them is SEAL Team 6, and one of them is a 20-year-long jewel thief team in Europe. That were the most successful team, like illegal burglary team in the entire world. It's because of 2 things: safety and vulnerability. And so when I mean safety, it's like an environment like this, like your studio. I'm safe to talk about anything. There's nothing off limits. So if you and I own a company, you should know my vulnerabilities. Okay. Make sure. And so,
those are important to know.
And then I feel the safety that my vulnerabilities and my strengths, and that I can come really talk to you about anything. Right. Not just you can come talk to me about anything. Like, I can really come talk to you about anything. So those things, that's what makes the San Antonio Spurs extra special, is because their head coach knows every intimate detail about every player. Nobody's too young. Even the newest of rookie, Pop's reading their sheet, looking, find out not only where that kid's hometown is, then Googles everything about that kid's hometown, and when they have team dinners, he'll like put an article and just throw it on the rookie's plate before dinner. He's like, "Hey, is that restaurant in your hometown good? Does that have good ribs or something like that?" And so he'll just be like, he just connects with them on a personal level every single time, so they all trust each other.
I think probably I don't know if it was in the book, but like probably an understated value of that is like everything you named requires incredible communication.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to be a jewelry thief team, incredible communication. The Spurs, incredible communication. Or the SEAL Team 6, incredible communication. Yeah. Like, you have to be able to communicate, and to communicate well, you have to be vulnerable, and you have to go, I suck at blank.
Right.
I'm not good at blank. I need somebody to make this up for me as a team together. Like, look, I'm a Rockets fan. So I don't care for San Antonio at all. Yeah. Sorry, Jeff, my friend Jeff. Sorry, San Antonio fans. But just like I can appreciate Bill Belichick and all his bullshit, I can appreciate Pop and how he is as a coach and the communication that comes along with playing basketball at that level, right? So I think the communication is probably like in all those instances is probably great, right?
Yeah, they are. And so some other books that I was literally any Malcolm Gladwell book.
Oh my God. Okay. So really, let's fanboy out for a 2nd. What's your favorite Malcolm Gladwell book?
It's going to be who wagged the dog.
I haven't read that one.
It's something wagging the dog. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't read that one. Have you read Talking to Strangers?
I have. Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite book so far.
That one's number 2 for me. Yes.
I mean, outstanding book.
It's where I talk about Sandra Bland.
Yes.
And then the whole police interaction and stuff like that. And,
I mean, that book it's amazing.
It is amazing. Yes.
Yeah. And do you read or do you audiobooks?
I do both.
Okay.
Mostly these days, mostly audiobooks.
I do mostly audiobooks because it's just easier for me. And if you do the Malcolm Gladwell audiobook, he reads it to you.
He reads them. Yeah.
And he has a really great voice.
He has a great voice.
And then like when he does the audiobook, he kind of does like a podcast. So he'll put like samples of audio and things like it's really like great. But Talking to Strangers is like probably for me one of the most influential books I have kind of read.
Yeah.
Do you think like reading books is probably part of you kind of balancing your life, right? Like getting a different perspective, especially if you like Malcolm Gladwell. I mean, he's bringing a totally different perspective probably than you're kind of used to. Is that fair? Yeah, no, it is. And especially he actually did he did a book about World War II, particularly about the bombers. Which one's that one? Bomber Mafia. Okay. God, man. It's kind of new. Okay. So like I've just started doing this. So like I've only read like 3 of his books. So but like still he brings in he's telling a story about the bomb site. It's called the Norden bomb site, which was for most people don't know this, but the top 2 things that the US spent during World War II, the most expensive thing was the atomic bomb and the research and all that stuff. The number 2 was the if you take about all the aircraft carriers, planes, tanks, and everything, that didn't come close. The Norden bomb site with all the wow. I'm talking about a bomb site because you hear about guided bombs and everything dropping on on a Coke can and stuff like that. That wasn't the case in World War II. They just like spread shit all over the place. Right. It was a mess. And so, but anyway, he even managed to grasp the personality of all these real life people from 80 years ago and just and then kind of set the stage and like this person didn't like this person and this person's trying to get money from this person for this project and this, that, and the other, and he grasps all their characters, and so you're sitting in the room when you're listening to that book. It's amazing. I think what's amazing about him is that he's smart enough to know how to write for a basic person to understand. Yeah. Like he knows how to write for just like and that's not I mean that's a skill, a very important skill in its own to be able to communicate in that level, right? And so all the books that I've quote unquote read or listened to, like they just pull you. The books just pull you in. Like even Talking to Strangers, like it took me a minute, but once I was in, then I was just like on it all the time, and it was so influential, like for me. And you can listen to it over and over and over. Yeah, I listen to them at the gym sometimes. Yeah. Especially if I'm doing like a low volume, kind of low intensity workout. Like listening to books is like great for me. Like you know what I mean. Have you read David Goggins' book? No, which one? Yeah, it's called Can't Hurt Me. No. And this talks about he's a retired Navy SEAL, and he talks about his his abusive childhood to being a obese teenager and then making it all the way to being a Navy SEAL and then pull up champion of the world at some time. But what I like about books like some nonfiction like biographies is like when they're talking about themselves, you really relate to somebody when they start to just like, at times it could be sad or it could be funny when they self-deprecate themselves and just talk, be like, you know what, I did this and I just screwed that up, and you kind of makes you laugh. So it doesn't make them seem like this huge bulletproof hero. They're a human being just like you. Maybe we failed at some of the same things. Maybe we did some of the same things good, and so we kind of talked about this before. Like, I think that people really gravitate to the authenticity of people. right? And so I don't look at it as like self-deprecation. I look at it as just like them being honest, like, hey, I screwed this situation up, right? And when they're honest about it, then you go, oh my God, I screw up situations too. It makes me feel more human. It makes us feel like more connected. You know what I mean? And you know, part of what kind of like I try to do here on the podcast is just kind of bring out those stories of just like, you know, just like everybody experiences similar kind of things. And especially when you do a lot of therapy, you realize that like, if we were all that different, therapists wouldn't even have a job because there'd be so many personalities they couldn't even handle. We all kind of fit into kind of one section or the other. And so, you know, we could learn a lot from each other. Like, you know, I would assume that, therapy is probably one of the main things you use to like help like balance you and make you whole, right?
For sure. Yeah. Just to kind of keep you going as a normal person and have a job and not be an asshole to people and, you know, just live your best life, you know? And so that's kind of what they help you be a better person.
Well, I always say this, like Tiger Woods had multiple trainers. He didn't have one trainer. He had multiple trainers. And I mean, and I would guess he probably had a physical trainer. He probably also had mental trainers and stuff too. So even the best people have people that make them better. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're doing yourself a disservice to not, if you're good at meditating on your own or taking care of your mind on your own, then you don't need a therapist per se. It's a very difficult task, and most people probably could benefit from it. Just like me as a personal trainer, I could benefit from having a personal trainer. Even though I'm a personal trainer, excuse me,
you don't know everything.
I don't know. Well, it will, and I'm never going to push me as hard as somebody else will push me.
Right,
ever.
That's true.
ever.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you're working on your mental health, no one's going to push you as hard as someone that is paid to push you.
Because we seek our comfort zones.
Oh, 100%, right? Yeah. Like we live in comfort. It's all we want. Yeah. You know? And so sometimes, comfort is great, but also like if you want to grow, you gotta stretch a little bit. And it's not going to, like, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be comfortable. It's just not, because it's not called comfort. If it was called comfort, we'd be like laying in a pillow bed, but we're not. You got to stretch yourself a little bit.
But smoking is not comfortable.
No.
At all. But then now I feel completely comfortable not smoking, and that's like a personal goal achieved that literally still gives me a smile, puts a smile on my face every single day when I think about that. I no longer have that personal baggage, a lighter and cigarettes in my pocket, you know?
I mean, I would think, I've never been like a smoker, but I got to think it's like just a huge weight off your shoulder. Yeah. In the sense of just, it's tough to have vices.
Yeah, it's just it was a social aspect. Like, for example,
and also you're in the military. A lot of people smoke in the military.
A lot of people smoke in the military,
and like you're overseas, and everybody's smoking in Germany.
Everyone's smoking in Germany. Everybody's smoking in Iraq. Everyone's smoking in Afghanistan. Everyone's smoking
because everybody's stressed out and has anxiety. Probably.
Everyone's stressed out and has anxiety. Yeah. So we have these little pack of 20 therapists and a pack of cigarettes that boom. When I'm stressed, I'm having a cigarette. Happy,
I like
socializing,
that. Pack of 20 therapists.
Yeah. So. It's nice not to have that crutch there,
Yeah, you eliminated one thing out of your life that doesn't need to be there.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, did you have a good time?
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Was it nerve-wracking at all? Like, did you get nervous at all?
No, I appreciate the conversation really put me.
I mean, and maybe the shots of Jameson we took probably helped.
Yeah, they probably did.
I mean, I like a little shot here and there. I think,
Yeah, I mean, a shot of Irish whiskey? Come on, that's like right when you get home from work, and
I mean, for some people, maybe right before you go to work.
Yeah.
No, that's just for German kids in Germany.
Exactly. I mean, that was at the bus stop. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, man, I make everybody give me a hug. So unfortunately, even though you don't know me, you got to push that mic out. Yeah. Hey, thank you for doing that, bro. I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much. Awesome.